is how to use the pen tool. I'm not going to go that much into it. It is hard to get good at it. I'll make a new artboard. And so the pen tool is this second one. There's the third one, the third tool on the left. And there's also this new curvature tool, which is a similar thing to the pen tool, but I'm not exactly sure. I think you have less control over it, but it's for making curves. So if I go under, I'll just show you the curvature tool first. If I go here, I'm just clicking down, and I click again. Once I've clicked again, you can see my line. There's like this curve. So I'm altering the kind of curve of this line between the 2 points. I'm saying, like, basically based on wherever I click next, the kind of, imagine a string being pulled between the two. It's going to alter the direction in which this string is pulled. So it's like, I don't know, if this were made out of metal or something, you can kind of imagine that you would have to shape it on different angles. So I can create these kind of curved lines and see how I'm affecting the line before I click. So here I'll just click, and then right now there's a fill, so that's why it's filling in this way. If I go on my fill here, appearance, and I remove that, none, then it's just a stroke, and I can make my stroke bigger so you can see it. So this is the curvature tool. I think it's fairly straightforward. And then when I want to be done and I don't want to keep editing, I just click on V or back onto selection tool. So V is the shortcut for selection tool. So I'm going here, drawing, and say I want to be done. Right now it wants to keep going. So I can either click escape or click V, and your shape is now completed. So then I could use my white arrow here, and if you click over, you can see that there's a point that was created here. There's like a little, they're called anchor points, with these handles that I can shift the handles around, and then that allows me to shift the way this line is being applied. So this can be a really useful way of creating lines for in your design. And then the pen tool itself is kind of similar, but you're doing everything by yourself. It's not kind of predicting where you're going to go. In this case, it's kind of showing you what the line will look like before you go ahead and click it. So I'm running out of space, so I'll just kind of move these off my artboard, and I'll create a new, I'll just use my pen tool. So with the pen tool, you have these, right, I'm just clicking, and right now it's just a straight line. So if I click, I create a straight line. I can also click, and then once I've clicked to my second location, I hold this time. Instead of just click release, I'm still holding my mouse pad or my mouse, and then I can drag into a different direction, and I'm creating these handles so that my curve is, it's altering the way my curve is going to go. So it does show you where it's going to go, and then I can keep going and draw around. So here I'll just draw over here, and I can alter that, and then I can come back. If I go back to the first area, it will kind of close up my shape. Here we go. So let's say I wanted to make this as a, more circular teardrop kind of shape. I can go here and alter the handles of my curve. So I'm just kind of looking at it, stretching, seeing how I want to do that. Okay, that looks pretty good. Another thing you can do, and this is hard, it takes a while at the beginning, but once you get it. You can also create a curve. So I'm making a curve, and then so I held on, and now if I wanted to have this be a sharp angle, I can click back onto it. So I'm clicking back onto this anchor point, and now it's basically broken my curved line, and it will allow me to make a straight line again. So I could go here, and then I could rejoin here, but I'm still holding, and I can change it to going whichever direction I want to. So it's annoying, but it allows you to learn to draw. You can trace kind of anything you want. You can, if you have something that you drew, you could make little icons from it. I'll give you all this Mighty Pen Tool Beginner's Guide here that somebody else created, made by Mighty, where you can try different things, and it kind of shows you the way the curves are being made. So if you kind of go ahead and follow along with your, so you can see how, okay, they're saying I'm dragging first, before I click anything, I'm dragging to a 45-degree curve. Then I'm intersecting. Okay, well, I don't think they're happy with how I did it. I'm intersecting here. And I can go back and modify this later because I'm doing it poorly. Hold on. Dragging. Okay. And then dragging. I think I went the wrong direction the first time, where the way I drew my first handles. Anyway, so you can get it exactly perfect, and I'm going to remove my fill here so that I can come back with my white arrow and change this to be exactly the line that I want below. So I've used this to draw like little illustrations. You know, if I'm making something where I want to show a chair, but I want the chair to be an illustration, not a photo, I have traced the whole chair. So you can do it that way, and you can try and see, you know, they're showing you the like curve handles, and you can make all these complex shapes. It'll show you how that's done, which is really useful. Another thing to think about, just, we've done this before, but let's say you had drawn this. There's multiple ways you can draw things. So imagine you had drawn the top part of this. I'm going to do it quickly just to show. Let's say the top part is a circle, and I can make sure it's exactly the correct curvature of my circle. And this isn't, so maybe I have to alter the kind of angle of my curves. Clicking, clicking, clicking. And I can go on all my different anchor points and alter them so it's exactly right. And then I drew this one separately. So let's say I'm doing that with my anchor point pen tool. I'm drawing this one. I'll just go back over here. And I'm not doing it very well right now. It takes time to do this properly. I can add, so let's say here I didn't do it very well. I can add a point. So I'm just going to go and add a point here. I just hover over it, and I can remove or add a point. And then I can go and change the handles on my curve. Here we go. So go ahead and change that. Change this. Okay, my curve isn't good enough here, so I'm going to go ahead and add another point. And I'll move this one out. Okay, so now I'm pretty good. It's pretty much exactly what my initial drawing was. And you can see they've done it in a simpler, more beautiful way. But what I wanted to show you is if I use the fill tool instead of, so I have two shapes and not the stroke, I still have my pathfinder options. So if I go down to window and pathfinder, I could, right now these are two shapes, but if I select both of them and I say unite, these now become one shape. So sometimes when you're drawing a more complicated thing, you could think about, okay, maybe this is my outline. Now I want to remove something from the inside. So I could, let's say I could duplicate this, make a smaller version, and say, I'll just make it another color so I can see what's happening. Let's say, you know, I want to, for some reason, remove this from the shape. I could minus front, so remove the front of it, and now my shape is just this. So sometimes what I'll do if I'm drawing something more complicated, so let's say I'm drawing a chair, I'm just going to do it just from memory, but in real life I might be bringing in an image and then tracing the image. So imagine my chair's here. I'm just going to make a really simple chair. It's going to be terrible. I'm just doing this quickly for the sake of time. So my really terrible chair, and let's say I decide actually I want the inside of the chair to have a cool shape in it. I might, there's other ways, so I could have just traced it perfectly, or I could draw whatever the inside is here, and let's say it's two of the same. Oops. I'll make it a different color so you can see it. Duplicating it, and then I just remove that minus front from my shape. So I kind of build as I go, instead of, you don't have to trace the whole thing perfectly, so I don't have to trace like exactly where, if I were tracing this by hand and trying to get the inside and the outside, that's a lot more work, whereas I can do it just first the outline of as a whole, and then remove different sections slowly as I go. So yeah, that's kind of the general thing about the pen tool. I know it's complicated, so let me know if you want me to explain it in class, and I will also upload this pen tool beginner's guide for any of you who want to actually try your hand at it. I hope this was useful, and let me know if you have any questions.